a lot of similar pressures and tactics, if you will, have been used to brush the research, if you will, under the rug, to ignore, deny, to blame, to name call. And here we have some of the pioneers in the field. And I have been very, very fortunate in my life. I actually had the opportunity to meet Erin Pizzey, who opened the very first shelter for women in the UK. But to her credit, having started out acknowledging the issue from the perspective of women victims, began to hear the stories, probably stories very similar to Michael's, or maybe even a little bit different, where women were acknowledging their roles. And so she really started to advocate for the importance of a gender equality perspective in the work. Dr. Murray Strauss, who very sadly passed away within the last year, I think we actually just contacted him for some research and found out he's died. He actually came to Vancouver. I invited him to speak at a conference we had here. He did some of the most groundbreaking work, and I'm going to tell you a lot about that. Dr. Don Dutton was actually a mentor of mine. He's a professor here in the Department of Psychology. We published one of the first articles that really started to raise awareness in the issue. The notion of the emperor's clothes, though, where it really comes up is with respect to a lot of the work of Murray Strauss. So he would come to give a lecture like this, and people would come and protest, stamping their feet so that they couldn't speak. And eventually everybody would just go home. And so when I started doing this work, it left me feeling very anxious, thinking, and in fact, I asked Phil when he gave me the invitation, I wanted to know what kind of reception they'd been having if they'd had protesters, because you'd never quite know what to expect. The most extreme example of this is one of Dr. Strauss's colleagues had a bomb threat at his daughter's wedding. So that is the lengths that people have gone to keep this research out of the public eye, out of the media. Other examples, Dr. Strauss told me stories about how graduate students, if you are in academia at all, a lot of what I do is research. If you're in academia, you need research funding, or you don't have the opportunity to do research because you need assistance and you need to pay research staff and students and participants, and you need to publish. You've heard the term publish or perish, right? They were told, don't work with him. Funding agencies were told, if you fund research on male victims or female perpetrators, you will no longer be getting resources from our agency, for instance. So there's been a lot of effort to keep this hidden.